Alrighty, so here we go. Alrighty, everyone, thank you for joining today. Today's topic will be held by myself. I am Lena Minus, your WBBC COVID Program Coordinator, part of the COVID response team here at the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And our topic today is how to increase employee engagement and productivity. As we all know, it has been a challenging time during this pandemic. And what we like to focus on is helping engage and increase everyone's productivity overall. So today's speaker will be Miss Ashley Christmas. She is with El Paso Steel Door and Frames. So I'll go ahead and start off by letting you know a little bit more about the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, what we do here, the benefits as far as being a member. And then I'll go into some history about El Paso Steel Door and Frames, and then go into our discussion. So if you do have any questions, feel free to comment on Facebook in the comment section, or if you are on Zoom, just put that in the Q&A section. So as you know, our mission here at the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is to continue to be the preeminent resource of minority, small, women, and veteran-owned businesses. The Chamber is the leading advocate in supporting the growth of the El Paso community. We do have our ETA centers, the Women Business Border Center, which is in partnership with the SBA. We have our MBDA Business Center in partnership with the U.S. Department of Commerce, the MWEDC, and the COVID response teams. Our Women Business Border Center is focused more on businesses that are starting up, anyone from 0 to 3 years. This can help you definitely plan your business. It could be the business plan. It could be choosing the name of the company, the type of company, the location, or even looking into certifications. Here you can see in 2001, we were empowering entrepreneurship. We are also the first women-owned business center to be co-located with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in the United States. We are also third-party certifiers, and we are selected among the country as 2014 and 2018 Regional Women Business Border Center of Excellence Award. We also have our Minority Business Development Agency Business Center. This one is designed more for businesses that are already existing, anyone 3 years and up that's looking for expansion, any growth opportunities, any certifications. So anyone who already has an existing business, go ahead and reach out to us and we'll guide you to the MPDA Center. We also have the MWEDC Center, and this one was funded by a grant through the Minority Business Development Agency and operated here at the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We focus on assisting minority women-owned businesses across the county, growing their business by connecting them with financing, contracting, and exporting opportunities. So please give us a call to get more information. And as I mentioned, I'm part of the WBBC COVID response team. We were awarded this, to help every company who's impacted by COVID-19. Feel free to reach out to myself, my partner Frida Rodiles, and we also have Cassandra Carabeo. You can give us a call here at 915-566-4066. And of course, our hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We can meet in person, but please call to set an appointment. Or we can do our meetings via Zoom like the one here today, or we can have a phone conversation. But just let us know if you have any questions or need any guidance. Our counseling is at no charge to you. And now to go into our discussion for today. If you don't already know about the El Paso Steel Door and Frames, let me give you a little history. I love this story because it is family owned, and as you know, it's a challenge to start a business, but when you do it as a family, it just makes it much more empowering. So Ashley's great-grandfather, Carlos Lopez, was an immigrant from Mexico and came to the US in his early 50s, with skills ranging from car mechanics, construction, and general maintenance. He supported his wife and his 4 kids as a repairman at a laundromat. And in 1964, he did meet a door technician doing outside work. and was later recruited to work for that door company, who now is actually their competitor. His son, Beto Lopez, Ashley's great uncle, served in the military and upon his return started working for the same company while attending business school at UTEP. Once he graduated, they decided to start their own business in 1979 to include great-grandfather, two great-uncles, and her grandma Suki. Thus, the birth of El Paso Steel Doors and Frames Incorporated. In 1988, Ashley's dad, Gilbert Ramirez Jr., who had unofficially been working summer since the age of 12, joined the team as a delivery and installer. In 1992, Gilbert, Ashley's dad, was promoted to the sales estimator, and over the decades, they obtained large jobs and contracts from the city of El Paso, school districts, hospitals, and Fort Bliss. In early 2000s, a long-time and highly valued shop employee brought on his two sons to work with the company and began learning the trade. The eldest son is now the lead technician, and the younger son was recently promoted into the office for sales and estimating. And in 2016, Ashley's great-grandfather Carlos, co-founder of the company, passed away from natural causes. He had worked past the age of 80. And in 2017, great-uncle Beto, co-founder and CEO of the company, lost his battle to cancer, and the position of CEO was passed on to Gilbert, Ashley's father. Bringing, of course, Ashley Christmas, who is now the office manager at El Paso Steel Door and Frames. She joined the company in 2019, replacing her grandmother, who was the office manager for about 40 years. Ashley has over 8 years of banking experience, certified in payroll processing, and has an associate's in accounting. Since then, she has reduced costs from outdated business practices and improved daily production by introducing latest software and budget processing. Her goal is to continue striving like the family that came before her in the most efficient way possible, and eventually joining forces with the two brothers to run the company together, once her dad, of course, has retired. Okay, so now to go into our discussion, it's gonna be going back and forth between Miss Ashley and myself. So let's go ahead and get you started there. So today's topic is how to increase employee engagement and productivity during COVID. So as a leader who manages a team, what would you say is the difference between highly engaged employees and those disengaged, Miss Ashley?
So really, any person is easy to point on who does lack drive or are disengaged, whether it's a personality trait, which is something that's a little bit more difficult to deal with, is like a slump in a relationship, a friendship, and it can definitely happen in a career where you all of a sudden become dissatisfied. Maybe the task that you're given or inability to understand certain topics. Sometimes that can cause someone to become disengaged with their work. However, with the personality traits, it's easy to identify because types of employees will just want to do the bare minimum, and they're really not afraid of hiding it. They just want to do enough to get by. They want to get their work over with and just get out the door. On the contrary, highly engaged employees wear their determination on their sleeves. Excuse me. They believe that creator and better future will put not only the company in a better position, but also position for themselves to be a part of. They like responsibility. Excuse me.
Of course. So another thing that we see is sometimes if you do share, of course, your mission, your goals overall as a company, and helping show employees that future definitely helps motivate them. So what do you think that we can do to help employees see that bigger future? What would you recommend?
I think the first step in getting employees to participate in creating a bigger future is to give them security within their jobs. I want them to feel like they belong here, that they're not disposable, that they're not easily replaced. Most of our employees have been here with us for over 10 years, and gratefully, we've never had to lay anyone off. Even during the pandemic, we have declared to them that we will explore every option possible before we will resort to layoffs. The next step is to create a career plan with each individual. We can use this time to point out positive attributes and let them know how much they benefit the company, not only now, but for the future. Show them that whatever plans are in store for the company, that they are a part of that plan. Reassure them that, again, that they are not disposable. Um, have them write out their current accomplishments or anything that they've accomplished in the recent past, and any skills that they've either learned elsewhere or with the company. Goals that are both short term and long term. This will help determine what actions we need to follow as a team and for them individually, whether it be uh, loan for school. We've actually done that for employees before, where we've lent them money to versus like a school loan, and they've just paid it back out of their paycheck. That way they can further their education. In the past, we've also sent employees to do trainings out of town. Phoenix is a really popular place for the door industry. To products, it's in the best interest of the company to make sure everyone is up to date with what customers want the most, and of course, security wise. Or we simply can learn the skill on the premise. There are a lot of things that our employees have learned, whether they came from zero experience, as far as how to weld. That's required in this field, and people who came in without that experience now know how to weld or can learn architectural skills as far as the mathematics that go into it, or materials that are used. Even though we are not architects or we are not contractors, a lot of things like material of a building does play a factor in our work. They can learn how to operate a forklift. And these are things that will be in need for the rest of the company's existence. They will ever be obsolete. And I also think that this is a really great time to cross-train employees. Even if a task is not in one's description, just if they have the interest to venture into a different avenue and time is permitting, it's definitely a win-win situation. It may be a delivery personnel that wants to learn how orders are created on the computer, or exactly what goes into creating the order based on the customer's needs. Or maybe they would like to learn how to, again, fabricate the material that they are delivering. Instead of okay, well, we're just load this onto the truck and take it from point A to point B, actually know where the material came from, how it came into the shape that it is, and they have a better knowledge and can actually on the order itself. Or even the receptionist, maybe a receptionist would like to be more educated on the products that we sell from a salesman's standpoint. And any of these things can help an employee grow with the company.
Perfect. Oh, I love all of that, how you go above and beyond for your team, not only helping them learn new skills, which are beneficial and providing job stability, but also going and assisting them with any school loans, anything like that. It's really unheard of. And that's what makes the big difference when you work for what I think is a family-owned company, is that there's a lot more compassion, there's a lot more support, and understanding one another, and that's definitely beneficial to help your employees and staff engage with you. So of course, speaking with your employees, sitting down one-on-one, getting to know them, getting to know their goals, their dreams individually. Besides that, how are you overcoming not being able to coordinate fun activities during this pandemic? As a company, you just need that time to get out of your workplace and just get to know each other and release that stress. What are you doing to handle that right now?
Well, we've always had an open door policy. We're very comfortable with each other, but even more so now, we want them to know that we are here to listen to their voices and their concerns. Um, as you mentioned in the introduction of our company, a lot of our work does come from hospitals. And right now, that's a very high risk place to be. And we have had employees who have expressed their concern for being sent on site to do work at these medical facilities. So together we've come up with a plan that before we actually do commit with the customer at a medical center or facility to do any type of work, that we are looking at their numbers as far as cases, if they've had any reported outbreaks, and if it's going to be a risk to our employees, it's definitely not something that we're going to expose them to. And although it may be an inconvenience for our customer at this time, we can't afford to have any sick employees, especially as a small business. And if one person gets sick and God forbid infects others, it would really take a toll on our company. And although as of right now we are deemed essential, we cannot be essential if no one is healthy. So to hear out everybody's concerns right now is a very, very big deal, and to not only hear it, but to actually take action on it, because they can speak up all day long, but if nothing is done about it, then they will lose their confidence in you as their employer.
Of course. So it's very critical during this time that we remain what they call human and kind of understand one another and make safety the priority. Overall, yes, business, we need to move forward, but we need to show our staff that they're kind of, well, I won't say valued because of course they're valued, but that their health is cared for, and that you're going to do everything and follow all the protocols just to ensure that everyone is safe and healthy, and you're there supporting one another. You can plan a more creative way to keep business moving forward, and that's what this pandemic has done, is made us a little bit more creative. But definitely just making safety and health the biggest priority. So of course,
Exactly.
Right now, the challenge would be, of course, getting to have employees kind of open up and share how they're feeling, what they're going through, just to show that you are engaged with them. If an employee was to share a dream with you, where they share that they might hint they might eventually leave your company, what would you say, or how would you handle that?
Be supportive of all of our team members. Of course, they are encouraged to give their best as long as they are here at our company. But everybody has different goals in their lives, and sometimes they can change. There are times where we do hire employees knowing that they not are on for a few months, but also that they're not going to be here forever, that it is temporary. But our goal here is to give them as many skills as possible while they are here. I know it gives me a sense of accomplishment to share the knowledge that I have. I know I'm not out in the field or I'm not in the warehouse welding, but from an office standpoint, I have been able to share my talents as far as Excel goes. I worked with Excel for a very long time and I'm very knowledgeable of it, and I really like to make others as aware of how to use it as possible, because things like Excel can be used lifelong, not just in a business setting, but they can be used for personal reasons. So it's definitely okay to help people that have dreams that are separate from your company. Um, so it's just about being supportive, and I think that the more supportive you are, the more open that the employees will be with you. I think another way that it can benefit you is that when they do know that it is time for them to go, they will be more open with sharing that with you, so you're not caught off guard and trying to hire someone last minute who maybe is not qualified. They're more open to saying, you know, maybe in a year I will be graduating from so and so with a such and such degree, and at that time I will be exiting from your company. At least you have a timeline as far as that goes to know when you'll be hiring again, and you can be very well prepared for that instead of being, you know, caught off guard.
Okay, right, of course, of course. And I do agree that if, you know, you might have that happen, but of course, like you mentioned, if you help them gain a few essential skills, they're going to remember that you helped and you were there for them and you helped build them. And you just never know, they might become so in tune with you because of how supportive and how understanding you are that they might end up staying with the company and you guys keep working together. You might share the same dream and mission with the company. So we can go either
Mhm.
way. The key is always just support one another. And if you can learn from them or them learn from you, why not? I mean, those skills you carry with you moving forward. So I do have this question that came in through Facebook. It did say, during this pandemic, how do you engage with your employees that are working remotely? I'm not sure if that applies to you, but how would you know that they are actually working?
Yes, that is a good question. Fortunately for us, have still been and on. So this is not something new that the employees are required to get done. And we do receive the paperwork back for each job accordingly. So that's always been a practice of ours. And fortunately, I have not had the challenge of having to keep tabs on those who are at home or remotely.
Okay, perfect. So they check in with you regardless at the end of the day and provide everything you need.
Mhm.
Perfect. So while having discussions with your staff members, of course, we're talking about engaging with them, speaking with them, getting to know their goals and, you know, anything that they inspire to do. What would you do if they start bringing up personal issues? How would you handle that to kind of control the conversation?
So of course, there are definitely employees who may have overshared at times or have been a little bit inappropriate. But I believe that there's always a reason behind it, and it may be because they have no one else to talk to personally, and that's why they bring up such topics in the workplace. So there's definitely a way to control that without being too formal. You can either pull that person aside and just let them know, you know, maybe based off of others' experiences that it might affect them differently based off of what that employee is saying. But, you know, that they can always come speak to me directly, and that if there's something that I can help with, I definitely will. There have actually been a couple of employees here that have lost family members due to COVID, and um, you know, you can tell that their attitude has changed, and they start getting a little bit distracted from their work. And what I try to do is, if they feel comfortable with it, talking to them about that family member who passed away, letting them know that I am interested in knowing a little bit about that person, in respect to my employee, and tell me about their life, tell me, you know, what they meant to you and how they impacted you. Um, and I think it kind of helps guide them in the direction you want to go when it comes to conversation. And hopefully at that point, it helps eliminate the extras that shouldn't be discussed in the office.
Right, of course. And once you show someone you're interested in what they're going through, they're going to engage with you on a deeper level. I do believe that it's good to, when you're going through a hard time, to have that conversation, even though sometimes it's going to hit you a little bit harder while you're having this conversation. but it's going to feel a whole lot better to have the conversation and talk about a family member who passed away or just a hard time in life, because you're kind of letting out those feelings, which will release the stress and the emotions that you're feeling. Plus, you never know, the person that you're
Mhm.
talking to can help you bring light or bring ideas as far as how you can handle things, or just show you that you're not alone. You have the support team, whether it's at home or at your workplace. You definitely will engage with your employees on a deeper level. And then of course, I believe that once you have that engagement, they're going to be more excited about going to work and talking to you. They might keep you a little bit overly updated on how things are. But at least they'll be having that conversation with you where it's like, okay, we have this, we're building a stronger bond with our staff. So it will
Mhm.
improve overall, I believe. I had attended, of course, a couple webinars during this pandemic ever since I joined the Hispanic Chamber. And during a webinar, one of the speakers said, "Do not waste a good pandemic." And then at that moment, I was just thinking, like, what does he mean, a good pandemic? Like, how can a pandemic be good? But of course, what he was trying to say is you have to be creative during these times. And what he was emphasizing
Mhm.
is right now that people, I don't want to say everyone has a lot of extra time, because some of us are a little overwhelmed with the workload, which busy is good. However, what he was trying to say is the opportunity to be creative, the opportunity to be more communicative, with not only at home, but at work, to strategize about new ideas, new plans that you can do moving forward. So I do believe that that was a really good quote. But what do you think as far as that quote itself?
Mhm.
Do not waste a good pandemic.
I definitely agree. I know there's on social media, if you haven't found a talent or a hobby that is beneficial to you, either mentally or financially through this pandemic, then you basically wasted time. Um, but I also see it in the perspective as now is our opportunity to restore humanity. Check on those who are spending the pandemic in solitude, um, just to ease the loneliness, because being at home all the time by yourself can get very old very quick. And also to reconnect with some of those that you've lost touch with, if there's friends that because they're too busy with their family or their kids, maybe now is the time to check in on them and just catch up, and maybe create a new routine of opening that line of communication. Right now is really the time to reflect and value your personal health, of yourself, and also of those who are family and friends. Also, I think it's a good time to be kind to the earth. If you actually do have the option of working from home, as I know a lot of people do, stay home. Stay home to keep one more vehicle off the road. Um, what I've heard from those around me, colleagues and friends, is that having this time to slow down in life and uh, basically smell the roses has actually made them less tense at work, because they're not spending their evenings rushing home from work to pick up kids from school or transport kids to extracurricular activities. And although I do believe it is important for kids to have um, those activities going on in life, I think right now, for the parent, and for workers, it really is. They spend more time at home de-stressing, and doing self-care, or tackling things that they didn't have time to do previously. And they actually come to work feeling refreshed. Um, I don't know if you've ever showed up to work in the morning and you feel like, wow, did I ever even leave? I feel like I've been sitting in this chair overnight. I haven't had a break mentally. I want to go do something else. It really eliminates that feeling, and you feel like you're ready to start a new day, ready to tackle things, maybe tackle things that have been on the back burner for a while, that now you have more mental patience to look at. Um, but it's definitely a time to be thankful for what we have. Also to support our friends' businesses. This is definitely the era of people and opening numerous businesses, whether it's a skill that they have or a product that they're making. There's so many channels now to selling, selling products or offering your services. And I think it's really important to make sure that we are helping our friends' businesses and also local businesses. Uh, let's put the extra effort into being kind and patient. And also, let's be selfless and wear our masks to protect others and sacrificing outings to protect our population.
Of course, that nicely said. I myself, of course, have two kids. So even though it breaks my heart to know my kids are home and can't see their friends or teachers, it feels a little less stressful knowing that, okay, I have to get them ready in the morning, I have to drop them off, I have to leave work and rush, and what are we gonna have for dinner? I have to make sure they have clean clothes for tomorrow. It's so much going on. And it feels good to be like, okay, they're home. Okay, I can ask them to take this out the freezer. And my kids are old enough, thank God. They're very independent. So my son helps me with the preparation, and of course I have my boyfriend at home who also helps out. But just knowing that I have that extra time, which I've taken advantage of going to the gym a little bit more, which I
Mhm.
normally cannot do when things are normal. I can usually just do that on the weekends or squeeze it in as I can. So of course that gives you time to focus on your health, to feel a little more energized the next day, show up to work a little more refreshed, which everyone can take advantage of right now. And then hopefully soon, things will get back to where kids can at least see each other
Yes.
virtually in their classrooms. And everyone can have that little distraction. But to brush on the slide that I'm kind of showing right now, it's showing how once you're engaged with your employees, you will start to see the team a little more energized going to work. You'll get the little I like going to my job, I'm happy to be here, because you're showing that their voice makes an impact in your company, that you're actually listening to what they say, that they do contribute to the company. So that will definitely help improve your team overall. So what I think, if you lead a team, the best thing you can do is to engage with your team. I'm not saying it'll solve all the problems or obstacles you may be facing, but it'll definitely improve your team overall. And once you do that, you'll notice that everyone will have a little bit more fun at work and they will enjoy working together a whole lot more. Um, so of course, here in this last slide that I have showing, it says treat employees like they make a difference, and they truly will. And the other one says clients do not come first, employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients, which I personally agree with. What do you think, Miss Ashley?
Oh, yes, most definitely. You also want to set the example of how to treat your clients and customers in a really feel good way. So that way it does make an impression on the employee and they know that they also want to reflect or represent your company in the same manner and also themselves. It feels good to make other people feel good. And I think once we are the example of that, it definitely is contagious.
Of course. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into a couple of questions. So stats do show that about 40% of employees are engaged at work. Do you think it is possible to truly improve engagement during this pandemic?
I know that that is something extremely difficult to do during this time, um, especially according to friends that I've had who work from home. Um, to contrary to what I thought, they actually don't like it. They like to be in an office setting. They like to use their office phone. Um, so I know it's definitely a challenging time to do that. But if anything, we can at least work to make the productivity stable. whether or not it's an improvement from last year or even 6 months ago. Let's do what we can to make sure everybody is at least operating um, at the a stable level, and also we just need to really be patient with everybody because this has affected everybody in a different way.
Of course, yeah, definitely. You just have to kind of, like we said earlier, be human and understand one another, be supportive. What if an employee refuses to open up and share with you, but you have seen a kind of decrease in their productivity and performance? How would you overcome that?
I know that being a female, some of the men here don't want to confide in me when it comes to certain issues. But I think my responsibility is to make sure that if I'm not able to reach them or get them to open up, that someone here is. And I don't mean, just grab any old employee and share one's issues with another, but my dad being CEO, he's definitely in a position to discuss certain topics with some of the guys, and they do feel and make them feel comfortable to go to him for things that they need.
Perfect. Okay, so just seek someone that you are a little more comfortable, or of course, if they're not doing it, maybe have someone else in staff management to assist with the situation. And this next question, we kind of brushed up on during the discussion. How would you control an employee from oversharing?
And it's all about taking control of the conversation and directing it into the way you want it to go. Um, if an employee shares too much about an ex relationship where there's a child involved and the details are getting to be a little bit inappropriate for the office, I would then start asking about details about the child themselves and what the child's interests are and how the child is doing, and keep in touch with them on those topics, so that way whenever the employee does see you, they know that that's what you can talk about because you're up to date on what that kid is involved in, and that you're interested.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Just kind of gear the conversation and take control. Now, during this pandemic with emotions everywhere, do you recommend coordinating team meetings to ask how everyone is doing, just like a general roundtable, and you go around and ask, how are you doing today?
We do that. We try to keep it more on the casual side, so it feels more just like a chit chat rather than this formal meeting where you're, expected to share your deepest, darkest emotions. But a lot of times, what we've been trying to do is provide breakfast for our employees. And so before any of the deliveries start or any customers start coming into the office, we kind of connect or collect in the break room, and how's it going out there, and how's so and so's family member doing, and just different topics, and we all just have a little chit chat and have a quick breakfast, and then everybody starts their day, and you know that you've had that time with your employees and they feel like you're connecting with them as well.
Okay, that's definitely a good idea. And I used to, the previous company I worked with, we used to do that. I think Friday mornings we would change it like burritos or some menudo or whatever, just to kind of sit down, have a quick talk, and then go on with the rest of our day. But I definitely think it's something essential that would help you kind of connect and engage with the team. Do you believe transparency with your team is beneficial?
Not 100% transparency, of course. This is a business, so there are things that should be handled by certain individuals. But I think it is. Sorry, I think I may have lost
That's
connection
okay.
there for a little bit. Um, I think it is good to be upfront and honest with your employees when it is in regards to their livelihood. So if we know that this pandemic may have an effect on vacation time that we're able to pay out, or if they're able to take days off, or even Christmas bonuses, which we've done in the past, may be eliminated. We kind of like to keep them up to date as far as how we're looking on those things, because I don't ever want someone to rely on vacation time and them us not being able to offer it. So I do like to keep in touch with them as far as things that affect them.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, of course, that's understandable. If you can give the audience any pointers, what would it be? What would you say?
I would say patience right now is the best thing possible. As I mentioned before, everybody's going through their own situation when it comes to the pandemic. Some people live with um, their elder family members who you are afraid of infecting, and so if they need to express something to you and you need to handle it in a different way than you would anybody else, it really is the time to do that. So just be patient and be open to doing things differently than you would have in the past.
Perfect. Now, as the female leader, has it been challenging to be taken serious by your staff? If so, how did you overcome that?
Luckily, my grandma actually set the path for me. Um, she is highly respected amongst all the staff members here. Again, she was here for 40 years before she retired, and she actually does still come into the office every once in a while, and everyone is always glad to see her. And so, knowing that I am a product of her, no one has ever really doubted my abilities when I've tried to make a decision to improve the company. Um, and if so, I really, if they ever have, I'm all I can do is explain myself and show them that my interests are to benefit the company. Obviously, this is my family's company. It's my job to continue that legacy.
Right, of course. I actually don't see any additional questions at this moment. However, if I do have any more come in later on today, I'll be sending those over to you so you can help attend those with the attendees. But what I like to do now is, of course, thank everyone for coming to the meeting. And of course, I'm going to give you a moment to speak a little bit more about your company, what you guys do, where you're located, and how to get a hold of you. But thank you, everyone who joined our conversation today about increasing employee engagement and productivity during COVID. We hope this helped you. But if you have any questions, please, of course, do not hesitate on giving us a call here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Our phone number is 915-566-4066. So, Miss Ashley, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about the company you work with.
Sure. So we are centrally located in the city. We are off of Piedras, next to Beaumont Hospital. So it's easy to get to us from any side of the city. And if you don't want to come in, you can always call us. Our number is 566-2311. And we specialize in commercial doors for businesses. To be more specific, we do fire rated doors, which are the fire exit doors in all back of all buildings. We are educated to know what is up to code when it comes to fire inspections from the fire marshals and the fire department. And we also offer free estimates. So if you have a door that needs to be serviced and you don't know what's wrong with it, or also if you don't know the kind of measurements that you have or what kind of material of door you need for your building, whether it's a new building or it's an existing building that just needs the replacement of the door, we can always go out there for free to figure out what it is that you'll need specifically. And our salesmen are very, very experienced, and so they'll cover all the bases with you. It's down to the hinges that actually hold the door to the frame in the wall, to the kind of door handle that you need, because we also for offices and for restrooms as well. So, you tell us what you need and we'll be able to figure out exactly what it is.
Perfect. So thank you for sharing that information. If ever anyone needs to get a hold of her, you know where to reach out. Can you share a phone number and an email?
Yes, again, the phone number is 915-566-2311. My email address is Ashley, ASHLEY, .EPSD, which stands for El Paso Steel Doors, @gmail.com. And I can connect you with the correct person to speak to in regards of what you need.
Perfect. So thanks once again. And if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate in giving us a call here at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce or message us on our Facebook. But thank you, everyone. We hope this topic has been helpful and will help engage your team overall. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day, and thank you for joining. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.